Hello, everybody. Glad to greet you again. And now we are on Knowledge Block 4, and this is resilience. This is the one that's, I think, the most optimistic and positive and enables us to have confidence that no matter what we go through, we'll be able to survive, we'll be able to get there, get to our destination, our objectives, our goals, our mission. But we need to understand what constitutes resilience because that's really the key. Glenn Schiraldi, Dr. Glenn Schiraldi, has developed this knowledge block for us. Glenn is a friend and colleague and has written numbers of books. This is one of the books that he's written. And you notice that it's a source book. So what that means, if you have post-traumatic stress disorder, then this could be useful to you in all kinds of different ways. It's kind of like a handbook on how to be resilient after you've been diagnosed with PTSD. But the book that I have assigned to my disaster resilience leadership class, a master's degree class here at Tulane, is this book, among other readings. This book is just what it says, a complete guide to resilience, and that how to build and maintain it. So a lot of the stuff that he talks about in here in particular is in your knowledge block. He is a West Point graduate, retired military officer. But what he has done in his career and in many of his writings is to make an argument that if we, rather than looking at trauma from a negative perspective, we need to recognize that there can be both positive and negative outcomes from traumatic events. So consequently, rather than assuming that if someone is traumatized, then they're in trouble, but rather to recognize that they're being tested, that their skills, their attitude, their life experiences, and the conclusions of those life experiences are all together associated with how well they'll develop, how well they'll come out of this crisis. So resilience, as he talks about, is to provide students in this knowledge block, to provide students with a good foundational but applied knowledge about resilience and how trauma resilience is measured, studied, and how all of us can increase our resilience. So that's the whole point of this knowledge block. And of course, we're hoping that you utilize this information and apply it to your own life and also to apply it to the game, Trauma Quest. He first, in the section, there's a number of sections, but the first thing that he does is define what he means and most everyone in this field means by resilience. He notes it's a departure from viewing trauma as exclusively negative and dysfunctional. It's suggesting that if you have a problem with trauma, then your resilience is inadequate. And as a result of that, it's in many ways good to know because then you could work on and develop your resilience in order to cope better the next time. Remember the 5 victim questions. One of them was, what if this happens to me? Will I be able to cope? Well, you are going to be able to cope if you focus on resilience because each of the unintended negative consequences from trauma can be addressed specifically in one or more of the areas of resilience. So he defines trauma resilience, and I do too, as a state in which we are better prepared for trauma by developing skills in stress management, in constructive self-talk, what we say to ourselves, whether we condemn ourselves or not, whether we're nice to ourselves as needed, but also the degree to which we take care of ourselves, and other skills associated with surviving, decision-making skills, for example, logic. So all those things are associated with being able to bounce back during and following a trauma. So the knowledge block has 7 sections and 7 videos throughout, and there are 3 readings. And we've worked with Dr. Schiraldi to select these. And again, I think I'd like you to think about your own situation as you go through here, because we're going to be talking about there. It's going to be discussed in the videos and some of the writings about the specific skills. And you might want to think about, do you have those skills? And those people who do have the skills, do they appear to be resilient? Do they spring back fairly quickly? So again, think about that as you go through the KB. And as I said before, think of Trauma Quest and those two families that are struggling. So I'll talk to you a little bit later, and hopefully you'll enjoy this.